Well, hey, everybody, Rich Groves here. I want to thank you for joining me as we get ready to go live with our Gateway to Freedom Meet the Speaker series. Today, we are going to introduce you to a fantastic speaker we have lined up. Let me actually show you who that's going to be. Tim Grimmett is our speaker that you'll be speaking to, or speaking with, that we'll be speaking with today. There we go. Let me show you this real quick. So this is Tim Grimmett. We're going to bring him on here in just a moment as he gets settled in. Tim helps successful professionals live authentic lives in their own terms by achieving time and income freedom through real estate investing while simultaneously creating monumental relationships with their spouse and children. I think that's such a freaking cool thing Tim does. Sorry for me being really passionate about that, but I really, really do. Tim's been a real estate investor since 1999 when he purchased his first two-family home in the South City here in St. Louis. He grew his business to 7 LLCs and over 20 employees, only to lose everything and have to start over in 2014. I've known Tim for a few years now, and I'm super excited to have him on board with us. I know that with his renewed focus, he rebuilt his businesses and is focusing on more important aspects of faith, family, and finances. We're going to bring Tim on with us at Gateway to Freedom to specifically talk about how to rehab houses. And Tim is a great expert in that. And as soon as he is ready, we are going to bring him on to do just that, to talk about just that. So give me just a moment here while we experience some technical difficulties maybe, but Tim's going to be joining us in just a moment. Alrighty. Anyway, so while we're waiting for Tim to join us, which is my fault, I sent him the wrong link for today's show, today's episode. Let me just really quickly talk about what Gateway to Freedom is. So Gateway to Freedom is a real estate investing conference, first of its kind, groundbreaking, if you will, here in the St. Louis area. It's a 2-day weekend event being held November 4th and 5th in the St. Louis area. We're going to have 17 incredible expert real estate investor speakers, folks who will be able to take your business either from ground zero to super heights, or from where you're at now to much better returns than what you're seeing now. These folks, even if you took just a nugget from each one of the 17 speakers we have lined up, it is going to be well worth the cost of admission, the price of admission. Go out to www.g, the number 2, the word free, so www.g2free.com, and get your tickets today and use the coupon code TIM to get $50 off your ticket. Speaking of Tim, there is Tim Grimmett. And Tim, I apologize. I was just telling the audience this is completely my fault. I sent you the wrong link to begin with. Tim was sitting there waiting, give me a message, said, I'm on. And I'm like, I don't see you. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I sent him the wrong link. We've been scheduling so many of these. I sent him the link to one of the other ones. So thanks, Tim, for rebounding, for covering my mistake. So I do appreciate that.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Can you hear me okay?
We sure can. And I gave everybody a quick little summary of kind of your background and who you are. But what I'd like to do is, first of all, thank you so much for your time today, being here with us and letting these fine folks that are watching either today or in the replay get to know a little bit about Tim Grimmett.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Awesome. So in your words, tell us a little bit about Tim Grimmett. Tell us about your background and how you got into real estate investing.
Well, a little bit about me. Grew up in a small rural farming community, Bowling Green, Missouri, about an hour north of St. Louis. Went to Mizzou and studied business, where I met my wife. And we came back here to St. Louis and worked for Quick Trip or Aldi Foods as supervisor for a while, and then I went to self-employed for MLMs and all the companies, you know, when you're out there chasing, trying to create passive income and find out that that doesn't work. Went back and got a job at Quick Trip, where I met a guy who came in one day. He's coming all the time, and he's the liquor doctor, Thomas Cayley. And he threw a check down on the desk, and it was $36,000. And he said, "Do you want to know how to do that sometime?" And I'm like, "Sure." And sat down with him probably about 30 days later at the Ritz-Carlton. And he took about 30 minutes and shared with me what I needed to do to get into real estate. And he said, basically, just go out and buy a house. So I went to Office Depot, got one of those contracts where, you know, you put your name in there. And I drove around South St. Louis till I found a house for sale by owner, acted like I knew what I was doing, went in there, had whiteout all over the place. And 5 months later, I bought the first house. And that's kind of how I got started in real estate.
That's awesome. What was it about? What was it about the game, so to speak, that made you think, you know what, this is what I want to do?
Kind of as a farm boy, you think you can do anything. You know, you get told to do something and not a lot of instructions, and you just have to do it, and you try it. And if you fail, you start again and you try. So it was kind of that attitude that I carried with me. And I didn't really have any type of training at all. I figured out how to get the financing together and went in and just started rehabbing the house part-time after Quick Trip, and ran into a few contractors through Quick Trip and learned. I mean, there's a fiasco of things that went wrong on that first project. But as a result, I made like $15,000 on the flip. And that's, I mean, once you do that, you kind of get the bug.
Right. That's the proof of concept right there, right?
It was. It was.
I mean, you've I'm sure, Tim, in your coaching background and in just your entire career as a real estate investor, I'm sure you've encountered plenty of people who think they're going to jump right into real estate and grab the world by its tail, and they're going to make $5 million tomorrow. And what would you say to those folks?
The TV show often is incorrect. It takes a little bit longer than 30 minutes to make a $40,000 profit with no labor. I've never seen labor in this story on the screen, but that's generally what I run into is people think that it's easier than it is. And if it was so easy, so many people would do it. It's not complicated. It's just that it's a process.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on that. That is so true. And then, a lot of people need to learn a little bit of patience, right, in this business. It's like, even you being a rural guy, I'm in a little rural town over here on the Illinois side as well, and it's like, you don't plant a seed and get the corn stalk tomorrow, right?
That's right.
So you got to have a little bit of patience and water and all of that stuff. But Tim, I'm going to ask you a question that I've been asking everybody on these little social media lives here we've been doing, and it's the flip side of the coin question, right? The one side where everybody shows the highlight reel, right? It's like, you want to see the highlight reel of Tim Grimmett, you want to see the highlight reel of Rich Groves, I'll show you that. So I'm going to obviously ask you that side, but I'm going to also ask you the other side. But the first question is, Tim, what would you say was your proudest moment as a real estate investor? If you can narrow it down to one thing.
Probably growing the business. At one point, I had 20 employees. We had several different integrated business, had property management, crews running, loan company, and there was a lot of things that was just growing and blowing, and probably grew too fast. You don't know what you don't know. And that was probably the most fun that we had. I mean, there was just so much hubbub in the office. We didn't work on Fridays after noon. Parties. It seemed like everybody had a birthday party I was buying birthday cake and ice cream. It seemed like every Friday. But it was fun. It was just fun, and that was exciting.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. So the flip side of that, I always ask people is, okay, well then, what would you say? And let me stop right there. So many times, and I know there's people out there that think that you have to be successful with every business decision you make in order to make it. You have to make all the right decisions to make it. So many people don't get to see the fact that, day after day after day, or week after week, or whatever it is, you do make a mistake from time to time, right? So there are lessons to be learned, and any successful business owner would tell you they made plenty of mistakes along the way. What do you think was your biggest lesson learned as a real estate investor?
Probably my biggest lesson learned, and and I agree with you. There's people that say I've never had a downfall, never lost profit on a house, and those people you want to be a little afraid of, because either their luck is about to run out or they're just telling you a story. But I mean, I lost it all. I mean, I had to start all over in 2014. The one thing that happens in life is that the downturns usually don't call you and tell you, hey, the market's getting ready to drop. You should probably stop, asking for loans, and definitely don't do that big house that you got planned, or have 6 or 7 of them going on at the same time. And that's kind of what happened to me. I didn't know how to read the market. I didn't even know the market was getting ready to take a downturn. But I got caught in it. And then what happened to me was a lot of the banks who said, yeah, we'll keep following and keep funding you. That was just lip service. The new banks came in and bought them, and they didn't continue making loans, which means you can't continue to pay your employees. You can't continue to invest in projects that you have open. And that's a learning experience. It took me a while to figure out how do you do real estate without getting money from the bank. And I was able to do that. I had done securities earlier, so I knew how to move people's money around in self-directed IRAs, and that kind of helped me. And for 10 years, that's all I did is use private money to do real estate. So it's a learning experience. The thing is that you just can't quit in real estate. You just got to figure it out, and that's every day is solving solutions. That's why I tell my students all the time. You just got to figure out the next best solution. That's it. Because you're going to have challenges every day.
Yeah, man, that's powerful stuff right there. That really is. And especially I love that part about you just can't quit. Right. I mean, yeah. And then it's kind of, I mean, I heard, somebody say the other day, and I'd heard it several times before, but they brought it up. And then now you just bring it up, is that you don't lose until you quit. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that is incredible. That is really powerful. So let me ask you this, and I've been flipping these two. I was saving this one to the end, but I like actually asking it up front. Is that we're doing these so people get to know Tim Grimmett. They get to know a little bit more about you, and you shared some pretty awesome things already so far in just this little bit of time we've been on here. But what is Tim Grimmett passionate about outside of real estate investing?
Tim Grimmett is passionate about family. The thing that real estate allowed me to do was, one, to never miss any of my children's events. And that was the number one thing for me. When I was growing up, my dad was a farmer, and farming consumed his life. 2 or 3 times he would see my events and sporting events, and I kind of made a promise to myself that I would never miss any of my kids' events. And I was on that path of just being, building this world empire and missing all that. And had a near tragic event about losing my marriage, and the realization of you need to be there for your family and your kids. And I changed everything. I started taking my kids in the morning to school, and I track coach and all the other stuff. And it's just important for me to put family first. I mean, it's wonderful to build real estate. Real estate allows you to have options, and some of those options, I believe, is being there for your family. Been married 33 years, Christmas Eve, and to a wonderful wife who has been very, very forgiving to me, and still continues to allow me to enter the house every day.
Man, I think we might be twins, Tim. I mean, I've got not as long as you, but I've got a wife that's very forgiving as well, and I completely I understand that, man. That's amazing. That is awesome. And like they say, and not to be sexist, I don't mean to be sexist about this saying, but it's an old saying, right? That behind every successful man is a strong woman, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So I 100% agree with that as well. And I'm sure it's the flip side, but I can't speak from that side because I'm not on that side. but sorry, but everybody's like, holy cow, Tim Grimmett's associated with Rich Groves. That's it. We're done with Tim Grimmett. No, I'm joking. That's never my intent. So, but I've been thinking real quick, and a couple more questions. One, I didn't even give you a heads up. I was going to ask it, but it won't be a tough one. But the one thing is, I've talked to several people as we've been barnstorming and hitting all the RIAs in the area, trying to get people to be aware of the event of Gateway to Freedom coming up November 4th and 5th here in St. Louis, and just super excited that people of your caliber, like you, Tim, that have agreed to come on and be a speaker and be a part of this event. And I think it's just going to be such an awesome thing for the community of St. Louis and anybody else that decides to come, whether they're from St. Louis or not. It's open to anybody. But I think it's going to be incredible. You don't have to go to the coast. You don't have to Vegas. You don't have to go down to Dallas or anything like that to go to such an incredible event. But there might be people still on the fence, like, oh, I don't know. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence? What's valuable about going to an event like this?
The most valuable thing is that you're going to hear many different people speaking on all different aspects of real estate. Now, there's a lot of different things about real estate that you're going to get exposed to that night or both of those days. One thing that I try to tell people, real estate isn't for everybody, meaning that for what I do, the flip isn't for everybody. The BRRRR may not be for everybody, but some aspect of real estate generally is. And you're going to see through all of the different speakers, all different aspects that you can get involved in real estate. You know, some people like to take more of a passive approach. They want to just invest their money and let other people put the time in. You got wholesalers, you got flipping, you got the BRRRR process. Somewhere that fits you in your nature. And you're going to see so many people walk the stage and tell you their story. And sometimes it's just about the person you want to connect with. We talk about real estate, but there's so much more that I give in my program, which has to do with how we walk with you and develop you as a whole person, getting past fear, getting past limiting beliefs, family ideas, you know, all of those different things goes into life. I mean, real estate is just a way that you generate income, but it's not everything. It's not the end all. And that's what we try to share. And there's lots of people on stage that I believe share that same philosophy, that family is important and there's more than just making a dollar. So come out, you won't be disappointed. And you will not see that many people on stage at that caliber for the price you're going to get. That's just ridiculous to think that you're not going to get your value.
Right. Yeah. I think I had one of the other speakers on, I think it was earlier today, and we were talking a little bit and they mentioned, you know, well, how much was it? And I told them, they're like, so if you got one little nugget from all 17 speakers, you're going to tell me that wasn't worth the price of admission? So I divided it up. It's like, if you got one nugget per speaker, it'd be like $30 a nugget. You know, if that, I'm sure you get more than that. And that's not counting like networking time with other people that are there and attending the event and all of that. Right. So,
right.
But I like people. I mean, I could sit here and crow about it all day long, right? It's, hey, Rich is co-hosting. Of course, we're going to talk about it, but it's great to hear, you know, people like you have that exact same kind of thought that, yeah, this is going to be very valuable for people and one of those can't miss moments in St. Louis. So, or, you know, if you're not, whether you're from here or not. But let me ask you this. And I've been asking people, and I every once in a while I get so caught up I forget to ask it. But I've been trying to ask it. Is, you know, the event's called Gateway to Freedom. How would you define freedom?
Many different ways. Let me give you one example of what we're able to do. A surprise happened one time. Our daughters had just gone to Olivet Nazarene College. It's about 4 hours away from here. Yeah. And there was this big event. They always have a week-long episode. And then the culmination of that is that they put on a play, and it's a production. And my twins was in charge of putting their class event together. And it was their senior year. We hadn't seen any of the other ones, but we'd only heard about it year to year to year and how it was. And we've seen the videos, but it never did it justice. And we surprised them by driving up that day. And my daughter was, well, another story. When my daughters leave, they get a toolbox and a drill, and they needed some assistance. And they had asked me hey, we're trying to set up this structure because our event is tonight. Could you help me? And I said, wait just a minute, and I'll be there in just a moment. And whatever they needed, I was able to grab from Lowe's and meet them at the school. And they had no idea that we were coming up that night. That's what freedom allows you to do, is to be there and not miss events. And the culmination of that, they won. Their class won the event, and it came down to the very last bit, and they won. And to be able to celebrate with them that night, it was just fabulous.
Yeah,
so
sure.
That's what, to me, the picture of freedom is where you ask your boss, can I go? And he says no. That's not an option. So that's what real estate has allowed me to do.
Wow. I got goosebumps hearing that story. Seriously, my hair is standing up. Such an awesome thing. I mean, you're right. That's 100%. Oh man, I love that. I love that definition and that story you shared.
Mm.
Thanks so much for that. That is awesome. Well, folks, if you like, I know this is just a sneak peek, and Tim, you're going to be talking about rehabbing houses. What, like, if somebody's just here and you had to give them just one little dangly, teasy bit of advice, what's like a piece of advice you'd give somebody who's thinking about getting into rehabbing houses?
Well, the little dangly thing would be jingle my phone and we see if you qualify. But the thing is, here's what I hear all the time. I'm just researching. I'm researching. I YouTubed it. Trust me, I did all the stupid things in real estate in trying not to have to hire a coach and be cheap. Learn from the mistakes of others instead of making them all yourself, because it's so much more expensive to make them all yourself. You can do all the research in the world, but it still is not going to give you the confidence of understanding people who've done, 200, 300 property rehabs. There's always something new, but there's always something that's consistent. And you don't want to lose money just to figure out the wrong way to do a real estate project.
I love that. That is so true. So true. Well, awesome. Tim, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I didn't want to hold you over. I think we're a minute over or so. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for your time. And I'm so looking forward to having you up on the stage with us on November 4th and 5th. And everybody, if you want to go out, if you liked hearing from Tim and you thought Tim was a great guy and you want to buy a ticket, help Tim out, because we're having a contest with all of our speakers. Get out there at www.g2free.com. That's G, the number 2, free.com, and buy your tickets and check out, put in the word Tim, the name Tim, and you get $50 off your ticket and help Tim, win that contest. So that's right. Well, Tim, thanks so much, and appreciate everybody that was able to watch it either live or on a replay. And I'll talk to you soon, Tim.
All right. See you later. Thanks.
Take care. Bye.